Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my desk for a bit of a recap, the finale of the 100 book series, and just kind of a general update. This is straight video, phone footage, straight video, camera, audio, because I just do not have the time or the will to set up anything more than this because life's been busy. So let me jump right in and get to the 100 books finale, which actually happened a few days into January. Was actually January 2nd was the day I read book 100. So let's jump in here. I figured I don't have a lot of the books because unfortunately I just didn't like them. Of the last ones, we finished on book 94, which was The Dead Guy Next Door. Book 95 was First Time Caller. Anyways, I'll throw them up on the screen for you. I think this was fine. It was a romance about a radio call-in show for dating advice. It was fine. That's it. Book 96 was The Department of Rare Books and Special Collections by Aoife Dersick. And this was the same author for the book The Midnight Library earlier that I read. Did I read that this year? I can't remember, but it was on the 100 books, and I loved that book, so I was really looking forward to the Department of Rare Books and Special Collections, but I really didn't like it. I remember that being like profoundly just not liking the main character, the story being kind of all over the place, the unraveling of the story and the kind of reveal was just, I don't know, there was like too much going on and it didn't string together in a way that I appreciated at all. So that was book 96. And book 97 was Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. And I also didn't like that book. It was very short. One of the Christmas themed books I picked up in a book haul last year, and I was like, oh, this will be great. I'll read it in the winter around Christmas, and didn't like it. Did not appreciate that book either. This was like another kind of string of bad books. During this time, I also tried to read How to Murder Your Employer, or An Instruction Guide to Murdering Your Employer, or something like that. It had a really beautiful book jacket, and I was really excited to read it. Huge letdown. DNF'd that book. That's one of the few books recently that I just was like, no. I got probably 40% of the way through it, and I was just like, couldn't handle the prose. It was written in more of old style English language, more classic literature type structure and language, and I was just not feeling that at the time. And also the story just wasn't paced in a way that was engaging, and I just also was just completely uninterested in where it was going. So that did not make the list. If that was in a book haul that I did and you saw it and you were like, oh, I wonder what that book's going to be about or how that book was, it was not good, and I no longer have it. Then book 98 was The Man Who Died Twice, which was the sequel to the Thursday Murder Club. Loved it. It was great. all of the good things I said about the first book probably also apply to this book. Again, these are books that I finished. This book I finished December 7th. So I read them a while back now. So it's hard for me to remember all of like detailed thoughts I had, and I stopped taking notes just because everything in life was just not conducive to focusing at all about putting out creative YouTube videos. So I just kept reading for my enjoyment and stopped taking notes about them. But would definitely recommend the sequel to The Thursday Murder Club, The Man Who Died Twice. I also watched the Thursday Murder Club movie. I don't know if I talked about that, but I did the video for the Thursday Murder Club. If I didn't, thumbs down. Don't recommend that. Definitely read the book. Don't. And if you've read the book and you're expecting something for the show, don't even. It's not going to be a pleasant experience. So that was book 98. Book 99 was Extinction by, I want to say, Douglas Preston. Yeah, because it wasn't Child. It's one of the Pendergast authors, and that was all right. I think it was a good book. You know, action. It had like dinosaurs, mystery, people dying. You know, it was just kind of like your average enjoyable book. So if that's up your alley, would recommend that one. And book 100 was, if you don't see this coming, I don't know how, it was Heated Rivalry. Yes, I got onto the Heated Rivalry train, and I was just as obsessed as everyone else. I waited until it was done. I was just kind of like hearing about it and was being bombarded with it. Anytime that I went on like Facebook, there were ads. On YouTube, there were ads, and I was like, what is this show? And I watched it, and I loved it. And if somehow you have escaped watching Heated Rivalry, go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's nuanced on so many levels. It's such a great story. Loved it. So then, of course, I had to read the book, because obviously, book girly, had to find out what was in the book. And I will say, there's like extra context in the book, and the show is not exactly like the book, although it is a fantastic adaptation. It's one of the best adaptations that I have ever seen of source material. The book, I would say, was good. It's not something I would have been drawn to if I had not have been down the rabbit hole of the show and loved the show so much. But of course, then the next book I read, which book 101, which I literally read both of these books in probably 24 hours because I just like flew through them, was The Long Game, the sequel to Heated Rivalry. So now we're out of the 100 books, right? So that kind of caps off the 100 book series. We'll be back to that in a second, but my kind of general review of Heated Rivalry was like, if romance is your thing, if male romance is your thing, it's a great story. If romance is not your thing, it's just kind of like another romance. The sequel is a roller coaster. It is just gut wrenching in like and high highs and low lows, and it's just season 2 of that show is going to be, I can't even imagine if people have watched season 1 and they haven't read the books, they're gonna walk into season 2 expecting something different than they're going to get. But anyways, that's not something we need to talk about now. The third book is coming out, which I'm looking forward to. It was originally supposed to be out this year, but now it's been postponed to 2027. So that's exciting, but also kind of a bummer because it got delayed. But, give her however much time she needs to write it to make it as good as the other two. And in the meantime, I'm sure we'll get season 2 somewhere in there, maybe around the same time. Who knows? But so that was 101, 100 and 101. And that caps off the 100 book series. And now it's done. And after I read those books, and I was like, oh, it's done. This 3-year journey that I've been on to read 100 books, or 4 years, or however, when did I start? February of 2023, and I read book 100 January of 2026. So, 3 years, 100 books. It feels like, looking back, I should have read more books than that. And it's also crazy because I know that I was reading way more than I had been in years previous. And it just kind of goes to show that, like, I had this such ambitious goal of reading 100 books in a year. And that was just so out of control, unrealistic at the time, and just with life. And I know for some people, like, to read that many books in a year is probably attainable, and if you listen to more audiobooks, it's easier to, like, mow through books, because you can just passively listen to them. And I also love audiobooks, so I'm not saying anything bad about that. Yeah, so that was kind of nice. And then I just dropped off any ambition for YouTube. I know there was, like, a big dip between, like, my last video that I did for, like, the 8 or 9 books or whatever it was, and then the one before that, and then now there's been, like, months, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be a thing that I do here and there when I have the motivation, and I'm glad that I did do this, that I started this channel and I started this journey, because I know that I would not be at 100 books now if I had not committed myself to posting reviews of all of the books from the beginning, because I would have just stopped reading for long periods of time. And knowing that, like, I had this goal of 100, and that there was anyone out there who might be following along, was just kind of like, okay, well, this is out in the world, this goal that I put out in the world. And so now it's like I had to fulfill it, and I wanted to fulfill it, and it made sure that for myself that I made time for me to do something that I love, and that is great. As for books I've read since, because obviously I finished this in January, and it's now months later, I've read like 5 or 6 books since then. I don't have the list in front of me. I'm writing them down, but I'm not dating them, and they're not on this original sheet that I created, which you can see I kept all the way till book 100. Stowed in a corner of a room, moved around, but I filled them all in as I went. And so that's kind of where things are at. I'm in deep obsession of spring gardening preparation, which I know every year, just like I started my spring gardening videos last year, and I was like, every year I get gardening obsessed, and every year I tell myself I am not going to plant a bunch of new stuff, and I just received 2 seed orders this last week, and I'm so excited to get stuff in the ground. And obviously our last frost date here isn't until like the end of May, beginning of April, so there's still a ton of time. So what I've been doing kind of in the meantime is I ordered some more of those round planters from Amazon, which turned out to be a good deal. Last year they worked out really well, and so I got some more of those because I wanted to plant more pumpkins and squash varieties this year, and those worked out really well for those last year. So I don't know, maybe you'll see some more gardening videos. I've been doing a lot of kind of cleanup prep. Our raspberries had a disease, so we just cut them all down and cleaned them all out. Now that the ground is bare enough to burn all the stems so that they can't spread that disease to the new canes that will grow up this year. So it's going to be a work in progress of what comes up on this channel from here on out. There'll still be books things, there'll still be gardening things, there'll still be random spatterings of like tarot or kind of mystical things. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on right now with the channel. Whatever comes, whatever goes, I don't know. But yeah, I am relieved tremendously to kind of have that goal behind me so that the pressure's kind of gone now. And yeah, I don't know. One thing I'm gonna finish this off on a solid book note, because I just finished the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. I'll put them on the screen here for you. Oh, that was so good. Horror trilogy. The first one, I was halfway through it. I'm like, I don't know about this. I got to the end of it. I was like, I don't know exactly how I feel about this. And then I already had the second one because I got the first one and the second one at the same time, and I read it and I was like, damn, I'm in it. I was in it. And so then I ordered the third one and I read that, and I gotta say, that is one of series that I am the most satisfied with in like my history of reading. It was so good. And if you don't think it was good, then and you read it, that's your opinion, that's fine. But oh man, I was just so satisfied. It was such a nice kind of like a few weeks of just solid reading material that was like slightly unsettling, and you know, you end up reading it too late at night and you're like, oh, I don't know. If I should read this before I go to sleep. Yeah, so that's it. I don't know what's going on with the ASMR aspect of this channel. I'm just kind of talking. I don't know what level my voice is at or how it's going to sound on camera. So whatever it is what it is. So don't necessarily expect that going forwards. And yeah, that is, I hope the phone audio caught me talking, because if it didn't, that's gonna suck. But however this turned out, it's going up. I just do not have the time and energy to put a lot of time or energy into elaborate audio visual setup. So I'm hoping that whatever this is and whatever the other ones are fine. If people enjoy it, then great. If this is the last video that I ever put out, then you know, that's great too. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey. Anyone who ever tuned in to one of the book reviews, I had so much fun doing them. It was a roller coaster of books and I loved it. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.